If you can't sell, you don't have an agency. Hey, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel where I help agency owners scale their businesses. I used to hate the mere concept of sales. It would always conjure up these thoughts of the sleazy car salesman trying to steal your money. You know what I'm saying? Hit like if you can relate. But as I transitioned from freelancer to agency owner and set out to make a lot more money, there was something really important that I learned. As an agency owner, and assuming you want to make money, you have to know how to sell. But how can you sell without being salesy? If this is something that you have been struggling with, don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below so that you never miss my new content, and let's jump right in. Now, the first thing we need to do is change the way that you look at sales. Because if you continue to look at it as a negative thing, it's always going to be a negative thing to you, and you're probably never going to be very good at it. So tip number one is to remove any negative language around the concept of selling. Okay, so if you ever catch yourself saying or thinking, I hate sales, I suck at sales, selling is the worst, you need to cut it out. Instead, replace it with language like, I'm really good at selling, I love sales. I know that sounds really hippy-dippy, but I'm telling you, I've said it on this channel before, it all starts in your mind. We need to get you over that mental hurdle. Tip number two, stop looking at it as selling and start looking at it as helping. This is something that I drill into my students' heads all the time. Help, don't sell. Nobody wants to be sold to, but everybody needs help. So when you're trying to sell someone something, in this case, when you're trying to sell a potential client your services, you instead want to look at it as they have a problem and I have the solution. This is what they're paying for. They're paying for solutions. They're not so much paying for services. So if you can offer them solutions and results, they're going to be a lot more receptive to what you have to offer, and they're going to be more open to exchanging that for money. As an added bonus, this is going to help you sell without being salesy, because in this case, your motivation is not money, it's helping them. And when you prioritize helping someone, the money very naturally follows. Helping is going to make you more money than selling. Tip number three, listen before you speak. One of the reasons that agency owners have such a hard time selling their services is because they make their leads feel like a number, and they're not. Again, nobody wants to be sold to. But that doesn't mean they don't need you. You just need to remember that when you're selling, you're trying to form a connection with another human being. They're just another human being, so that's how you need to treat them. We've already talked about how the goal should be to help them, but you can't help them if you don't ask them what they're struggling with. So early in your conversation with your leads, you should be asking them things like, what's giving you a hard time? What are your goals? What have you tried before and what were the results? You need to gather this information so that you can better understand where they're coming from, where they are right now, and where they're trying to go. Once you have that information, you can better determine, one, if you can help them, and two, how. At that point, you'll be able to respond to them and say, okay, I hear you, you're trying to achieve X, Y, and Z. I think I can help you, here's how we can do it. Tip number four, focus on benefits, not just features. We kind of already touched on this before, but there's a little bit more that you need to know. So earlier I said that clients pay for solutions, not services. But the mistake that a lot of agency owners make when they're selling is that they solely focus on services. I want to go a little deeper into this, so let's make the distinction between features and benefits, okay? Features and benefits. A feature is the service, it's the thing you do. Social media, blogging, SEO, PPC, graphic design. It's the thing you do. That's the feature. The benefit is what happens as a result of the feature. So if the feature is SEO, the benefit might be higher rankings in Google, okay? Most agency owners are focusing on features when they need to be focusing on benefits. Sell the solution, not the service. Now, I'm not saying that services don't matter. I have a content agency, and if I'm talking to a lead and I'm telling them, I'm gonna get you so much traffic in Google, they're gonna wanna know how I plan to do that. So that's when I would tell them a little bit more about my services. However, if I only said, we write blogs, we do SEO, and who cares? They could find someone and pay them a lot less to do the same thing. You wanna strike a balance between the two, okay? So say something like, this is our goal for you, this is what we want to achieve, and here's how we plan to do it. So that way you're leading with the benefits, the solution, and then you're backing it up with features, services. Tip number 5, talk openly about money. I'm pretty sure this is going to go against what some sales experts would tell you, but this is how I have approached conversations about money for many years. This is what I teach my students, and it's worked pretty well for us. Everyone gets real freaking awkward when the conversation turns to money. Why? It's paper. It's paper that your clients will give you in exchange for your services. That's it. In the 14th century, some West African tribes used shells as currency. Do you think they were going around like, don't talk about shells, we can never talk about shells? Maybe, but probably not. One of the biggest hurdles between agency owners trying to communicate with leads is that once the conversation turns to money, things can get weird, and it's on you to unweird it. Keep it casual, keep it real. Remember, you're just talking to another human being. Do not mention your rates up front, but do not save them for the very end, because then it's going to seem like you are intentionally hiding something. Plus, it's nice to know sooner rather than later whether or not they can afford you. My advice to you is this: there will come a very obvious point in the conversation after you've kind of set the stage where your lead is going to want to know how you can help them. So you're going to tell them the benefits and the features. Do not mention rates yet. Send them that information and then ask them if this sounds like something that they would be interested in. In their response, in all likelihood, they're going to say yes, and then they're going to ask you what your rates are. If they don't, if they just say, yes, that sounds good, then you're going to respond and you're going to say, great, our monthly rate is, or whatever your pricing structure is. This one's a tiny detail, but it's made a huge difference. Once I tell my leads my rates, I always end with, let me know what you think. I'm telling them that the line of communication is open. I am open to discussing money. They either come back with, okay, cool, that price works for us, or they come back and they say that it's too expensive. And then I will respond and tell them that I always try my best to work within clients' budgets, and I tell them I'd love to see if we can work this out. If I can offer them a slightly lower rate, I will, which usually just means that I am kind of pulling back on the scope of the work and then reducing my rates slightly. The point is this: do not shy away from having conversations about money. If you can stay calm and confident and open to talking about money, then your leads are going to reflect that. It's going to take a lot of pressure off the situation, and it's really going to strengthen your relationship. Make selling a game for yourself. This is kind of how I look at it. Challenge yourself to see how many qualified leads you can reach out to and how much you can help them. Become obsessed with helping your clients, and you might actually be surprised with how much money you make and how much easier it is. You're going to become really good at selling, and it's actually going to become a little addictive, but in a good way. I've got a lot more where this came from. If you would like to work together to scale your agency to 6 figures and beyond, then just scroll down below this video and click on the link to learn more about my program, Revenue Spark. If you are interested in discussing possibly enrolling, you can book a call with me. That's all for today. If you made it this far, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video.